Assalamu alaikum everyone. We'll start inshallah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli waj'al li waziran min ahli Harun akhi ushdud bihi azri washrikhu fi amri kay nusabbihaka kaseera wa nadhkuraka kaseera innaka kunta bina basira. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome everyone. Inshallah, we will continue with the 17th word that we started. Reflection on the verses in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. That which is on earth, we have made as a glittering show for the earth in order that we may test them, educate them as to which of them are best in conduct. Verily, what is on earth we shall make but as dust and dry soil. Section 18, verse 7 and 8. What is the life of this world but play and amusement? Quran section 6, verse 32. What is the life of this world but play and amusement? And last week we were going over this particular seemingly poetry kind of text. And we discussed a little bit about crying not out at misfortune and then trust in God. And I think we stopped kind of in the middle somewhere. But I just wanted to go over, since we didn't have the presence of Brother Ali, because he had asked us, we can discuss a few things on the misfortune, if he wanted to share any of his insights that we can benefit from, inshallah. But we kind of touched upon a few things, like anything that touches us, we may think in our perception that it is hurtful, but we can use that as a means to go and connect with our Lord. So basically, there's no use in crying at it or lamenting at it, because, and we kind of touched also upon how by crying, by just being hopeless, it just further aggravates the situation and compounds the misfortune, because the feeling of hopelessness is so devastating to the human being. That's why we need to find a point of support, and that can only be by connecting and seeing who my owner, my Lord is, trusting in His will, His order, the way He is presenting me with situations. And then we find misfortune sender and know it is a gift within a gift and pleasure. So whoever is presenting that is actually calling us. Whatever is touching us, we may seem it's not something that we may not like, but that's a means for us to go back and return to Him, to seek that it is presented from Him to teach me something for my education. So leave crying out and offer thanks like the nightingale. Smile through your tears. So leave the crying out, but use your human qualities and connect with your Lord. Because crying out again will be just wasteful, although you may for some time feel it, but wake up and go back to your reality, learn about who we are as human beings. If you find Him not, know the world is all pain within pain, transience and loss. So if you don't find that point of support, this whole world is, at the end, you will realize the transience of it. and it will be very painful the more one attaches our being to it. And attaching anything to something temporary is only leads to loss. Brother Ali, please share your feelings. Thank you.
No, last week I couldn't really benefit from the class, unfortunately. So please forgive me if we have already discussed about the point I want to share with you. First of all, the previous couplet or whatever you call them, the sentence says, yeah, misfortune. Of course, we know that misfortune is from our perspective. We see it as misfortune according to our expectations, not according to the source of existence of the events or whatever happened. Well, let's think about it as the following sentence says, find misfortune's sender. Who sent it to you? It means looking for the source of existence of this event, whatever it is that displeases us. In fact, not displeases our human reality, but displeases our immediate expectations that mostly consists of our own what is the right word? Our own expectations. How do I say it? Egocentric expectations, without thinking of the purpose of our existence. Just taking our existence for granted, and that I exist, these are my feelings, and something happens to me, and apparently that event contradicts my expectations. If I am a self-centric person, I may interpret it as something bad for me. That's why I call it misfortune. But if I am realistic, if I understand that I need to be created, and looking at my creation, if I realize that my creation is such that I cannot really attribute it to anything, accident, to this world, random happenings, the result of random happenings, I happen to be as I am now. If I really question them and understand that they are not impossible, to accept, to confirm, that I may conclude, or I am expected to conclude, because I have been given the ability to conclude that my existence depends on the will of the creator of the universe. It means the one who created the universe created me within the universe, and as everything is meaningful, as everything has a purpose in its existence, what is my purpose? I am a conscious being. I must ask my purpose. So the author says, look for the source of your existence, which is the sender of misfortune, in quote unquote. It means, according to my immediate, taken for granted life expectations, it seems to be misfortune. Is it misfortune? For example, the teacher teaches me, and one day he says, okay, it is now a prompt test. Wow! If I wasn't ready for it, if I was not conscious that I am a student, I have to learn. There is a purpose for my being in this place in the school, and the teacher, of course, is aiming to teach me, to educate me, to better my human capacity, to better my human capacity. So I have to expect that something may happen according to my egocentric understanding of myself. Because the purpose of my existence requires that I shouldn't think of my existence as egocentric, as a result of egocentric interpretation, but existence-centric interpretation, which requires to look for the creator. When you see that it is deliberately created for me for a purpose, it is a purposeful creation. So I understand, as the text says, and I know that it is a gift within gift and pleasure. Why? Because it is created to me in order to perfect the purpose of my existence, fulfill the purpose of my existence. Like the student, if he understands that the professor is teaching him something, preparing this person for a real life experiences, and if the professor sometimes teaches, sometimes asks the student prepare himself for a test. It means test doesn't mean that the professor is testing you whether you have learned or not what he had taught you, but the test is another means of education for you. Just go over, review what you have learned, what you have missed, you have not learned. So check yourself, not the professor doesn't need to know whether you have learned or not. You need to know, the student needs to know whether he has learned or not. It is a means for me to check myself whether I have learned or fulfilled my being in the school. So as the text continues, so leave crying out, but rather offer thanks. Oh, it is a purposeful act, teaching me something, like the nightingale. It's very interesting, this analogy of nightingale. Nightingale loves the beauty of the flowers, all kinds of flowers, their appearance, their color, their smelling, beauty, whatever they are. So smile through your tears. Although nightingale seems to be crying because of its noise, or it is singing, but at the same time it is happy that he is watching and seeing the beauty of the garden, flower garden. So we have to understand that whatever happens to us, which is not really according to our immediate expectations, look at them, the author says, look at them, watch them, try to benefit from them, although you may have some pain, but at the same time, you are learning, improving what your reality is. It is a beautiful way of looking at the world. When something happens and I feel that I am in pain, I'm not really experiencing what I myself prefer to have it, to experience it, but my teacher provides what I need to learn and understand, and he, the teacher, she, whoever it is really giving me the opportunity to improve my human sight. So my body may feel pain. My human sight realizes who I am, what my reality is. I cannot really change whatever happens in the world. I am totally dependent on the creation according to the will of the Creator. I am totally in need of my Creator. I cannot claim to be self-sufficient, etc. So know my reality, and at the same time, as a result, after I learn what my reality is, I can learn the reality of my Creator, my source of existence. That is how I proceed. Otherwise, but the simple-minded people, not thinking deeply, they say, why God created this misfortune for me? Why do they say it? Because they don't know what they're talking about. They are complaining about the God, the creator, but they don't know who the creator is, what the purpose of the creator is, but they say as if they have an independent existence by themselves with no purpose in their existence apart from fulfilling the need of their bodily need. But bodily needs are, yes, they are our need, but bodily needs are, in fact, to be used as a means of educating my human needs, understanding what the reality of my existence is, because bodily needs physically can be practiced, can be understood through physical experiences, whereas human needs, not through physical experiences, but intellectual analysis. So bodily needs are created in such a way that gives opportunity for our intellectual analysis to understand the reality of existence, what I am, who I am in this world. This is perfectly arranged in the universe as far as we can experience, and be careful not to be carried away by our egocentric interpretations or body-centric interpretations. Thank you.
Jazakallah, thank you. The existential interpretation. Yes, Farah, go ahead.
I have a question and comment. So I understand that when someone is going through a misfortune or some sort of pain or disappointment or whatever those sorts of feelings, it does depend on the individual themselves on how much they need in order for this to, so in order for them to feel better, they have to decide whether they want to feel better for, a period of time, or is it that they're looking for something long term and something that just frees them completely of this. So it is the individual assessment of someone's need and need and desire for this pain or this disappointment to be to to be resolved for them. And so hence, based on that individual assessment, they will go into different ways of understanding it. So I understand that on the individual level, but at the same time, when we talk to others, and someone has gone through an event or is feeling despair or sad, yes, there is an example of an individual who will say, why did God do this? I don't understand, and feel like a moment of, I guess, questioning their faith or feeling doubts in it. But then at the same time, I feel like I have encountered individuals who are very resolute that, yes, it is from God, it is His will, and I accept it as it is. Yet they also did reject and or let's say are not in favor of intellectualizing their experience. And I have come across a lot of pushback, for example, from people who suggest that when someone is going through pain or catastrophe or something, the last thing they want to do is intellectualize and find these, be confronted with questions that are so difficult and philosophical. So this is just to sort of ask, is it worth even understanding someone's response who is completely just saying, okay, it is God's will, I accept it as it is, and does not want to go through the process for themselves of understanding what this means? How is it possible that it actually makes sense given their faith?
All right. So would anybody like to share their thoughts on that or comment on that? Basically, everybody learns through gradually. That's what I would say. So he'll go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. To Farah's question, I personally think it's important because it seems like then, like if I don't try to understand it or make sense of it, what Ali Murmur was saying, then it comes off as like some, at least from my vantage point, and maybe somebody who doesn't believe, who's an atheist, and says, well, see, then they're just trying, these people who believe, they're just trying to find some sort of contentment in something that doesn't make sense. In other words, there's no sort of explanation behind it. It just seems like what they would call a leap of faith or blind faith. That's why I do think it's important, I guess, to simply answer that. Whether somebody does or not is secondary, but one of the biggest reasons people deny, I think, today is because of their perception of calamities or catastrophes or things that that's what they would call calamities or catastrophes, or why does something bad happen, or why is there war or killing or death or things like that, and just saying, well, I accept God's will is not really an answer. That's just, it's somebody saying, why should I accept it? And why does it have to be this way? And then the other person is saying, well, you just have to accept it, and it is this way. It doesn't come off as very satisfactory, in my opinion, because it doesn't really answer the question. So,
Yep, thank you. So it doesn't really answer the question. So how do we address this then?
I think Suhail can answer his own concern. I think those people who criticize God, not because they believe in God, because those people who criticize God, that it is a contradiction, because I don't like this, but these people mainly really, define themselves in terms of body only. Bodily desires, bodily pain, bodily satisfaction, or body. So you cannot really argue with these people unless go back to the base of their understanding whether we are here only body or we are human beings. We have human qualities. Otherwise, there is no way to understand why some certain things are happening in this world. Because if I say my existence is only body, then if something harms my body, definitely I will criticize this event. And consequently, since people say that the universe is created by God, I will extend my complaint to the Creator, as if saying, if there is such a being there. Otherwise, they say, I am unlucky. But when they criticize the Creator, not the Creator because they don't accept the Creator, when they criticize the concept of God that the believers use this term, but they don't believe. But that is the contradiction. How can you argue and how can you give an answer to this man, to this person, unless we go and talk about the foundations of this complaint, these definitions, who we are, what the universe is. Otherwise, there is no need to talk about with these people about what is happening in these people, because he defines himself in terms of body only, and you and I try to give the explanations of wisdom to this man, wisdom of the Creator to this person. It is a contradiction. His standpoint is completely irrelevant what I'm going to say to him. That's why there is no need to defend anything. I myself have to understand at least and share my understanding with others. First of all, that I am a human being. My body is only a means for my human qualities to operate in this world. When my body is subject to pain, my human side must interpret it. What does it mean for me? Why I am created in this way? Because if someone accepts that this person, he or she is a human being, it means he has the option not to define himself in terms of matter only, body only, but some other qualities which consists of non-material substance, non-material being. So a non-material being necessitates definitely that the matter cannot be the source of existence of non-material substance in human beings, and this must have a source of existence apart from matter, apart from the universe itself. So always we have to go back to the foundations of the problem, which is basically wrong definition of human beings. That's why I see some people trying to convince these kind of people who ask the question why God creates this and this and this, as if they believe in God. As if they believe in God. They don't. If they do, if they did, they would take into consideration of their human qualities, why the qualities are contradicting between human feelings and bodily experience. So human feelings don't want bodily experience, which is pain, that is our subject now. And human feelings must be defined as why I am created with this pain, which I don't like it. So they will say, the Creator is giving me, providing me an opportunity to learn what my reality is, rather than, I don't like it, and Creator is a bad creator or with a bad intention who punishes me or who tortures me with this pain. Of course, that is a generalization. I don't know, we cannot really speak about persons, a particular person. In general, that's what I understood.
Yeah, thank you. So there were some comments in the chat. So Maria says, human beings look for wisdom behind any event, undesirable mostly events, seemingly. Now, what is my creator teaching me here? That is assuming we understand I have a creator, so that's important. Only somebody who's looking from their existence perspective can ask such a question. What am I supposed to learn?
Yeah. That is excellent, because what is the wisdom in creating this event for me by my creator? By definition, my creator, there is no reason for my creator to torture me. He created me. For example, can you imagine an engineer made a machine in order to torture the elements of the machine, or employ it for a purpose, which is useful purpose. That's what he is doing it. Why should he torture the parts of the machine he made or designed? That doesn't make sense. So we have to really, what am I supposed to learn from this particular event must have a base foundation that I am accepting that I am created especially by the one who created the whole universe, and I am benefiting from his creation, the universe. So there must be a wisdom, searching for wisdom. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. So I think Farah says you want to talk for Farah, or because I know you were saying about intellectualizing.
Sure. I'm also happy with the, you as the moderator deciding in which direction you want to go in, but perhaps the question was taken in a different direction, but my intent was in asking about people who actually are believing individuals or Muslims mainly, who very easily accept, and to their, I can't judge how and why they accept, but they accept things as the will of God, and they don't want to ask why, and they actually find it offensive if someone does want them to consider understanding their circumstances by understanding what this means and the purpose in it, and to get to know the creator. Questions like that seem to be, in other words, like unwelcomed. And so in that case too, perhaps in the case of someone who doesn't believe in a God anyways, or wants to criticize it for other reasons, I feel like maybe in this case of a believer too, this particular approach that we are discussing is either irrelevant to them or of little interest. That was my...
I wasn't intending, if if, as far as I am concerned, I wasn't intending to make a comment on your question, but since you brought it up and really made it clear, those people who don't really look for the wisdom in its creation under the pretext of, I'm saying consciously, pretext of trusting God is useless. Unfortunately, as you said, Muslims, although the Muslim should be written with capital M in this case, it means just a political identity, or the political identity means that identity used in these secular systems. My religion is Islam and I am a Muslim, that's it. It doesn't mean anything at all, any value at all. But if someone really believes in God and in the creation of every single being, he is expected to look for the wisdom. What is the purpose of its existence? Because the Creator has created the universe for me to learn my reality, to learn who the Creator is, so that I will communicate with my Creator through this example, which is created for me. Learning. The universe is the place where I learn in order to fulfill the purpose of my existence, which is communicate with my Creator, get to know who He is, and accept and realize who I am. That is the purpose. The universe is a means, only a means, a vehicle to understand and realize this relationship between me and my Creator. Those people who pretend as if they are trusting God means they don't know what they are doing. Of course, our purpose is not to criticize these people, because we don't know what their capacity is, what their responsibilities are. We don't know. That is beyond our discussion, because we are not judging people here. By definition, we are talking here that if someone trusts in God, his trust must make him look for wisdom. As Feriha wrote, what am I supposed to learn from this? So come trust in God, it means learn what God is teaching you. Definitely trust God. He is aiming you to teach what your reality is, what the purpose of your existence is, how to perform or accomplish your purpose of existence. Trust God doesn't mean whatever He creates, okay, He is free to create. I have to suffer here for nothing. No, you have to learn. You have to learn. In order to learn, you have to investigate the wisdom in its creation and come to a conclusion after you learn what is the purpose of this creation, particular creation, which is painful for me, which is not liked by my human feelings. I have to learn something from it. That, of course, maybe we didn't come there yet, but when we come to this trusting in God, we have to talk a lot. What does trust mean? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the comments. So let's continue with that, and then we can talk about come trust in God, what that entails. So if you find Him not, know the world is all pain within pain, transience, and loss. I think we can all understand that. You would look for perfection, permanence, and so point of support. Anything in this world is all transient. It will only hurt you rather than satisfy you. So why lament at a small misfortune? Yeah, because if you realize your purpose, you're being educated here, this misfortune is coming from your Lord to teach you something, then of course it becomes something meaningful. And small while upon you is a world full of woe. There's so much to life, there's so much to your existence from an existential worldview rather than a body and material worldview. So come trust in God, which is the one that is teaching you, the one that is satisfying you, nurturing you, the permanent one. You're understanding that your being, is contingent upon His perfection, His qualities, His absoluteness. So why not go to Him? So let's hear from your comments on what come trust in God. And it's used a few times here. Trust in God, trust in God, trust in God. All right, so let's hear some comments. Brother Lee, go ahead.
I think we have to talk about what the nature of trusting in God is. What does it mean, really? As it is commonly known among the general public, submit yourself to God, whatever He creates, and accept it. It is from God. What does it mean if it is from God? They don't question, generally speaking, in a general culture. But trusting in God means really being sure, certain that whatever God creates, it is for my education, for my training, in order to fulfill the purpose of my existence in this world. It is for my benefit. Let me see where the benefit is for me. That is what trusting in God means, for investigating, not rejecting straight away, saying that it is painful, I don't like it, and whatever the reason of existence of this pain is a bad cause. Whatever it is. If you say God, God is a bad God. If you say causes, it's a bad cause. If you say accident or chance, it's a misfortune. Unfortunately, I am in this position. Why? Because I wasn't lucky, I was unlucky. These are meaningless approaches to the reality of what is happening in the world. So that we have to always go back to our definition of creation, existence. What is existence? How can I explain it? Without interpretation of the nature of existence, all discussions or reasonings are purposeless, or whether denying God or believing in God, equally meaningless. There is no meaning in accepting God, because just saying that there must be a God who creates everything He wants. Whatever He creates, He is free to create. I must admit it. I must accept it. That's it. What is the lesson? No. For example, look at the universe. Oh, it exists. God created it. For what? That must be a purpose. Because if you are aware what you are seeing, which I don't think they are, in general, the general culture I'm not talking particular people, because they may not really reason, their training in this world may not go into this area. They may be somehow excusable, and not my concern. I know that I have to reason. I have to reason for the existence of everything. That is my capacity, and that is my capacity teaches me that and asks me, Why is it that? Why something is happening in this world? I am trained in this. I learned this, and I'm sure all the people who are here are able to question this. So when we question, since we are able to question, we have to take the questioning attitude because we can. So those people cannot do that, none of our concern. We are not passing judgment about them, saying that they don't know what they believe in. No, none of my business. My business is my responsibility. When I come here to read this text and see that come trust in God is trusting God everywhere, I will say, what does it mean? What does trusting in God mean? Of course, he is an absolute being. He can do everything. Do you think he's a stupid absolute being? What are you talking about? Meaningless things he does because he's an absolute being. It was crazy, God. Do you mean this? No, astaghfirullah, God forbid. And what do you mean then? Everything is created by him, must have a purpose. Wisdom. He is a wise creator. Look at the universe. Is there anything in the universe which exists which doesn't have any wisdom in its existence? So what happened to me which causes pain in my human body, like hunger? No, I'm very hungry. Oh, it is not good for me. It causes pain if I don't satisfy it. Is it bad? Think about it. It is excellent creation. The most brilliant example of the wisdom of the Creator, that he gave us the capacity or potentiality for my body to be hungry, for my feelings to be hungry of eternal happiness. These are the main wisdoms in our creation, to get to know who we are, what the purpose of my being in this world is. Bodily hunger and also human feelings, hunger. Human feelings is hunger for eternal satisfaction, so that I know who I am. And as my bodily hunger, body is the means of experience, as we mentioned earlier. My bodily hunger is satisfied through miraculous creation of food out there, ready for me. I do nothing, but I found fruit on the tree. I just put the seed in the soil, that's it. Is it anything to do with creation? No. It is just order. I am writing for example, if the state, the government says, if you need any money, please send me a petition, write me and tell me, I will give you whatever you want. So you write a letter saying, I need $1 million, and $1 million is sent to you. Example, simple example. And you say that, you see, I labored for $1 million because I sent a petition or wrote a letter or sent an email. Everybody laughs at you. So what we do, we just express our need. That's it. Everything is prepared there. Put the seed in the soil. That's it. Everything is given to you afterwards. So as a human being, I think if my bodily hunger is guaranteed and satisfied by the creation out there, so by my spiritual hunger must be satisfied by the same one. That is how we should see the wisdom in the Creator's being a wise creator, that means trusting in God that He is not a crazy creator God. He is not a torturing God. He is a teaching God, helping God, just providing what we need. That is trust. So common understand version of trust in God is not really essentially different from commonly practiced by the atheists as they criticize God. Both of them are baseless arguments, equally baseless arguments. We should not cheat. We should be careful not to cheat ourselves, saying that, look, at least this man believes in God. Maybe it is good for him. I cannot do what he is doing. I question. I know how to question. Whatever happened, that's my reality. I have to question. I cannot pretend as if those people, I am one of those people who cannot question. I can. And I must ask this. I cannot ignore my reality and pretend to be an ordinary, untrained people. I cannot cheat myself because it seems to be easy. And it seems to be a very loyal believer. No, it is not loyalty. It is nothing but laziness. Denying your reality. You are responsible for it. Thank you.
MashaAllah, thank you. Trust in God. You have to become the ulul absar, ulul albab, inshallah, in Arabic, as the Quran mentions. To feel with our feelings, see how everything is coming from an absolute source. We feel realizing it, understanding it. All our human senses must feel that. You made me laugh actually a little bit when you said about all the discussions without the existential framework is just meaningless, useless. It's just how the whole education system, secular, that is present out there. Nothing to do with our purpose in existence, just the reality of things. Just a superficial trust in God that is, if there is any, but interesting. Thank you very much for that. So let's move on, unless somebody has a comment. Trust in God, laugh in misfortune's face. It too will laugh. The misfortune will start laughing too. As it laughs, it will diminish. It will be changed and transformed. Yeah, once you realize that your education is going on, you realize that you have the educator who is the absolute one, teaching you what your reality is, what you are here for, then anything that is touching you as a misfortune just becomes a means of educating to your spirit, your human side.
So your hunger really contributes your pleasure of food. It loves it hunger. Oh, when you see the food, if you are really hungry, if you are not hungry, you don't feel pleased when you are offered the food. If you are hungry, you say, oh, now I'm going to enjoy it. So that is the analogy reminded me with this phrase that you read, just read it.
Oh, interesting. I never thought of that. So hunger starts laughing once the food comes in. Yeah, you're right. Alhamdulillah, that's very good. Beautiful.
When you see the wisdom in the creation of the pain or whatever we call misfortune, you start laughing. You say, oh, God is teaching me who I am. I am needy, I am dependent. I need His help. His creation, I cannot create. I cannot change the order of creation. So, oh, that's my reality. So, of course, ultimately it comes to human feelings. So, my human feelings require eternal happiness. That's a very essential turning point. I want an eternal, absolute satisfaction. That is what everything is all about. How can I get it? How can I get it? If I realize that I'm hungry for it, I am created with the hunger for it, it becomes beautiful now. For example, when we say don't we say that, for example, what was the word? Not that akhirah. والبعث بعد الموت حق. Now, when you recite and remember, of course, it is a dhikr, remembrance, and the resurrection. It means being resurrected after death is definitely true. How your face becomes brilliant. Yeah, we will be recreated in the best form that we, of course, we deserve to have. So not this rotting body, especially for my age, I see everywhere is really ready to rot. So I understand. I don't want this body. I want a fresh, powerful, active, enjoyable bodily existence. Ah, it is possible. Not by myself, not by nature or the universe, by my creator who created me with the need for it. Oh, he's teaching me this. As I'm getting old, I am expected to enjoy the old age, saying that, look, oh, the resurrection day is approaching. Thank God I will enjoy the perfect existence according to my expectations, provided by my creator, not by my body, not by the father or the state. Who are they? My creator, who is the creator of the universe. So what I do now is I'm getting old, getting closer to death. I am happier and happier. Inshallah, it should be. That is the result of a realistic approach to creation, which is called belief in the creator. But those people who don't believe in the creator, they have to suffer. They don't really laugh in misfortune's face. What they do, they cry. They try to deny, they try to ignore it. Is it humanly realistic attitude? Never. It is just going against one's human nature. So they have to suffer because of their misinterpretation of reality, negligence of their reality. But we have to be happy that we are going to die. Oh man, we are going to be resurrected. وَالْبَعْثُ بَعْدَ الْمَوْتِ حَقٌّ. For me, it is the best news, good news for me. Inshallah, for a believer, it must be. I may not really feel this, but that is my weakness. But for a believer, by definition, the news of resurrection that God is going to give me must be the happiest moment I experience, but the resurrection is possible only after death.
MashaAllah, may we all share that excitement. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah ta'ala. So I think the time is up. So inshallah, we'll continue next time with another feeling, arrogance, oh arrogant one, before it was crying out. That's one thing that one can do. And then the other one is being arrogant. We'll see what that entails, inshallah, next time. Thank you all for the comments. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Fatiha.